Nancy Pelosi's got a few choice words for you, you people. Nancy Pelosi insulting Americans. No, it's Nancy Pelosi. Just calm down. Just calm down. We feed people. Apparently, Nancy doesn't like Americans or whatever that is. Former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is insulting American voters by trying to blame Moscow. Boogie, 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 boogie. It's Moscow. It's the... Hold on. For the liberals. It's the Russians. It's the Russians. They're going to get you. The Russians are underneath your bed. They're in your closet. They're right behind you. Hey, man, I'm just saying. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. So the reason why she's blaming Moscow for a wave of pro-Palestinian protests across the country. The senior Democrat has linked pro-Palestinian protests in the U.S. with aligned foreign influence on multiple occasions. Most recently, an interview with Irish public broadcaster Radio Telefis. I said that wrong. This week, Pelosi also took issue with the Genocide Joe nickname that U.S. President Joe Biden has been branded with over his failure to pressure Israel into showing more restraint in its military campaign in Gaza. Pelosi acknowledged that pro-Palestinian sentiment could impact Biden's support during the U.S. presidential vote in November and claimed that Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted the presumptive Republican nominee, Donald Trump, to be elected. Boogie, boogie, boogie. Hang on, folks. Let's hear how Nancy Pelosi has some choice words for all you people.
You know what the protesters and the hecklers are saying about Joe Biden, the label Genocide Joe. Could support for Israel cost Democrats the election this fall?
Well, it's interesting to me that you use that term because that's what we see at 3 o'clock in the morning outside of our house, flashing as long as this room, a sign that says that. And he has been, as I say, the force for humanitarian assistance to them. He now is...
What? Joe Biden. This is how you know these old politicians have now a twisted version of the past. In all reality, like these people who are in their 80s, going on to their 90s, they got to go. Right? I'm not saying that old people shouldn't run for office. Okay. I'm not saying that because look, I'm going to go old too. Okay. I get it. But when it comes down to being a leader of a global superpower, these people lack the emotional maturity to really be leaders or even acknowledge their own failures.
Is calling for the ceasefire. Who's resisting the ceasefire at this point is Hamas. Remember, Hamas is a terrorist.
And the IDF isn't, because last I checked, Netanyahu said he's not going to do a ceasefire. He's already ramping up military operations for the city of Rafah, having a back and forth fight with Iran. I mean, say it with me. What could go wrong?
Terrorist organization, in our view. Hamas has in its charter the destruction of the state of Israel. So this is more complicated. In terms of your question about the election, it's in Putin's interest for, to win. And therefore, I see some encouragement on the part of the Russians of some of what's going on. I trust the sincerity of many of the demonstrators. It's organic, it's spontaneous, it's real, but some of it, I think, has a Russian tinge to it. In terms of the election, people have to decide. Do you want to save the planet? Doesn't.
You mean Trump? Doesn't. Say that one more time. She can't even remember Donald Trump's name. Unless she's doing this on purpose, but I doubt it.
It's in Putin's interest for, to win. And therefore, I see...
Did Nancy have too much to drink before this interview? Type 1 for Kit. Oh my goodness, you have crossed the line. You mean man. You awful man. How dare you? She is on point. She's not drunk. Type 2. Oh boy, she's drunk. She had that Pelosi 5 special martini power hour just before this interview. You know, Nancy Pelosi could pour them down. She's the martini queen.
Some encouragement on the part of the Russians of some of what's going on. I trust the sincerity of many of the demonstrators. It's organic, it's spontaneous, it's real, but some of it, I think, has a Russian tinge to it. In terms of the election, people have to decide. Do you want to save the planet?
Save the planet. Save the planet.
What's his name doesn't. Do you want to save your personal liberties, women's right to choose, LGBTQ? Do you want to protect the children from gun violence? Do you want to protect our Constitution, our democracy? That's really what's on the ballot, in addition to those two names.
Look, folks, I just wanted to pull this up here real quick. Because the first time in a long time, because, you got Mama Bear here. But check it out. AOC in the Gaza Solidarity Encampment at the Columbia University. She finally showed up. Oh, boy. Here we go. So, AOC, just a quick question. Just a quick question to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What's it like knowing that Mama Bear, Nancy Pelosi, thinks all those pro-Palestinian protesters? That's right, folks. And just so y'all know, this happened. AOC and Gaza. This happened today, right now. Right now. Today's the 26th. I wonder what AOC is going to say to Mama Bear, knowing that Mama Bear just said all those protesters are influenced by Russia. And they're being mean to Biden. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that crazy? But look at that. Look at it. That AOC is why, again, I encourage everyone not to support the Democratic establishment, to not follow the DNC. I also want to pull this up here as well, because how could we forget this? Remember this?
Most of your constituents want
Get away from my car, you poor people.
Stop the genocide. Stop the Holocaust.
The Democrats want the ceasefire. The Democrats want the ceasefire.
She said, go back to China where your headquarters is. AOC. Hey, AOC. What do you got to say to that? Hold on. Say it again, Mama Bear. Say it again one more time. Sorry, folks. Just in case you didn't see this.
The Democrats want the ceasefire. The Democrats want the ceasefire. The Democrats want the ceasefire.
Go back to China where your headquarters is. Say it again one more time, Mama Bear.
The ceasefire. The Democrats want the ceasefire.
Let's go and pull this up here. So there she is. But Nancy Pelosi is insulting Americans, insulting the very people that they need to support them. Now, the Democrats and politicians who are part of that establishment system are going to try and sucker you in. So these activists and organizers, do not let them co-opt your movement. And I want to pull up this article here, and hopefully I'll be able to have it. Hopefully they will. They'll have this up here and ready. But when you have people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez who dismiss the fact that when people have asked her, hey, are you going to call out the Democratic establishment? Are you going to call out the DNC? Are you going to call out these politicians who purposely lie? And they make up your party too, by the way. I just want to pull this up here. No matter what you do, AOC, you're still going to have to deal and contend with the fact that your own party is on board with silencing those protesters. Case in point, this article here. I mean, what are you going to say to people like Joe Biden when they bring up this fact here? Top NYPD cop schools AOC after she rants about Columbia campus chaos and violent police units. So, AOC, you're associated with a party that is clamping down and okay with removing those protesters. You're okay with Nancy Pelosi being mean and being dismissive to Americans who are part of the pro-Palestinian movement. Hypocrite through and through. Do not let these people co-opt a movement. This is how it all falls apart.
And people wonder why I'm so critical of activists and organizers. This happens all the time. Happens all the time. And I want to be wrong, but chances are I'm not. And again, to all those protesters who will be protesting the DNC convention here in Chicago, are you going to be consistent? I'm ever hopeful that you will be.